Welcome to eLeader Tech TV. I'm your host, Mike Hill. Today we're going to be talking about ETS, executing the standards, how we can move a dealership from an ordinary dealership to an extraordinary dealership. With me today is Diane Davidson. Hi, Diane.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Well, thank you for coming in. Let's talk a little bit about ETS, and basically we work with it every day. You and I, we're in it. We have our habits and actions and things that we need to accomplish. Let's talk about what you see as you're going in and working with dealerships, and what do you see as far as working with new associates and ETS?
Ultimately, we hope that it will allow people to build success habits, right? To build the habits of the things that they need to do every day in order to be successful. And I think once people get it, it not only helps them at work, but it also kind of flows over into their personal life as well. So for me, that's what it's about.
Well, for a new associate, everybody, when they start out new, they know that there's things that they need to do and things that they need to accomplish. It's really, we're talking about two different interactions here. We're talking about the leader working with the associate working with the leader. So it's basically a performance management software where the leader can let the associate know what is expected of them, but more important, why it's expected and what we want to achieve. In other words, the goals, the aspirations that we have for that dealership and for that associate. And I think ETS really helps that associate understand it more.
Yeah, and there's a couple of aspects. There's the first thing, which is the action path, and that's usually the first thing that's introduced to the associate, right? The action path is kind of your to-do list. And we've all had that list of things, whether it's 3 things on your list of things to do or 13, as you get to cross and all of them off, we've all had that feeling of, I checked off everything on my list. That's a great feeling. And if you can do that every day at work, I mean, we all want to have that feel-good moment, right? So that action path is the to-do list. But where I usually start with an associate is on the standards list, right? When they're doing their checkup at the end of the month, okay, how did I do? And that really helps paint the picture for the associate on what the priorities are for the dealership, right? So there are 4 categories, right? The first category is the
CSI?
customer satisfaction index, and we call it CSI, but that's understanding their role or their impact on the customer's experience. It's kind of where we need to start, right? Because if we're not thinking of the customer first, then we're going in the wrong direction. And then the next thing on there is profitability, because without profitability, we're not going to be here. So that's a great thing to have as your next priority. And then the next category is the process, right? Because if we don't know how to go through the process, then we're probably not going to hit all the other things either. And then the final category is our self-development. And so when we go through those things with a new associate, it's fun to see those light bulbs go on and, oh, okay, I get it now. I see where I fit in to the success of the dealership. And that's what the tool is for the associate. And then, of course, the next tool
is on the leader side.
Exactly.
And one of the things we talked about and we've discussed before is, as you're talking with different dealerships, and there is a difference between the dealerships that are on ETS and the dealerships that are not on ETS.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much night and day. Is that right?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about our dealers now, the volume is more. And I think that because they've developed that habit, that's the habit of success. We talk about being goal setters, right? And the ETS really illustrates that in setting the goals and having the action path and having a mentor, a coach that works with you to help with the development so that you can zap the gaps and really address what needs to be improved, and then celebrate where you're having success, and then going through and setting new goals and new actions and new commitments. And so the leader benefits by being able to have a better relationship with their associate. If there's no clear way for them to understand what the associate does or doesn't do every day in the process part, well, how do you coach them, right? So when I explain to the associate that, hey, this is going to help your leader be a better leader, and well, why would I care about that? Well, because typically when you look back at jobs you've had, which are your favorite ones? The one where you had a great relationship with your leader, or where you had a terrible relationship with your leader? Well,
obvious answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that you have a great relationship, and to do that, you need to give your leader something to work with. And if they see that, hey, you're struggling in this area and you're really good in this area, well, how can we, number one, help you where you're not doing so great, and where you are doing great, how can you impact other people and bring them up in those areas, right? So everybody improves. I was just thinking about in leadership, we talk about developing our talent, right? And how does a leader know where they need development in their associates if they don't have a tool like ETS?
Well, the ETS is going to give them, again, the associate, the clear path, the actions that they need to accomplish, the goals that they want to accomplish. The leader can see how they're doing throughout each day, each week, throughout the month, so that they can get together and have that time, 12 times a year minimum. But sitting down, having that conversation, we call it a checkup. And it's just that. It's a time for the associate to meet with the leader to meet with the associate, and discuss the performance, and discuss the congratulations, the high fives on the things that they're doing well, but also determine some of the things that maybe, as you say, are struggling on. Find out, okay, we know what the situation is, what caused that situation, and how together we can both figure out a solution to it. And I think that within itself there, that checkup, that's the key to moving those successes and continuing that success habit. Because, all right, okay, now I see what I did wrong, all right, and now I've got a way to fix it. Wow, how much better am I going to be next month?
Yeah, and the accountability piece is really beautiful too, because we know we can hold ourselves accountable. And as when we're talking about these checkups and commitments, it's a way for the leaders to hold themselves accountable for the development of their people. Because ultimately, that's how we go from ordinary to extraordinary, right? Is by developing the people. And there's so much impact for so the benefit overall for the dealership. We've talked about that before, about how important that is. And if a dealership is looking to reduce turnover, right, and have longer tenured employees, what tool do they have in place right now that does that? That's why most dealers need ETS, is that they want to hold on to good people. They want to be able to develop their talent and have the best possible impact on the customer.
It's interesting that you bring that up. As we introduce ETS to new dealers, obviously the dealer has seen the need for it. The leaders have seen the need for it, but sometimes the associates are a little bit concerned. Here's another thing. They're going to be monitoring me, watching me, checking me, and those type of things. And it's not that way. It's not Big Brother looking down on them. It's really giving them a clear definition of the ways that they can succeed going forward. And as we introduce this to the new dealers, And as we introduce it to the new associates, it's amazing how many times the associates come back and say, man, I really love this. This is such a great idea. And they become very, very engaged. And once they become engaged in this, now you've got the leader and the associate, that bond has become stronger. And we've heard this term before, there are leaders and there are those that lead. Just to have the title that you're the leader is one thing, but be able to inspire and mentor and develop another person, that's a true leader. And it takes leadership to a whole completely different level.
I agree, and we've seen it happen in the stores. It's really fun when you get to see the impact that it has.
Perfect. Well, you know what? I'd love to discuss this and maybe in a future podcast a little bit more, kind of getting into some of the other things that ETS does. But I think this has been a really good discussion as to just how important it is to move that dealership that they're doing good, okay, but there's something else. There's something else we need to do to become better, to become extraordinary. Well, ETS is the answer to that.
Level up, absolutely.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you for attending today.